well done. We may, we'll get lots of different opinions on this one for sure. No, I think
Oh, look at
everybody.
some feedback.
So here's a few questions. For EIDL loan, we apply directly to the SBA website, right? Not through a bank.
That's right.
Okay. Uh, personal question. Do you think the economic recovery will be more like a V, U, or an L?
Lord only knows. I'm oddly, and it's purely a feeling, I think it'll be a U because there are certain businesses that are very vulnerable and are going to be a long time in the healing. I think it'll be a U, not quite a V. I'm optimistic. I think they've handed out so much money, it'll keep people from panicking, and that's what's key. True crashes occur when people fear and panic. If people are going to start getting these unemployment checks and so forth, and they're paying their bills and actually maybe enjoying a little time not working, and people are calm, we're probably going to get through this with modification. Now, there's a caveat. Restaurants and businesses similar to them are going to be utterly flattened, except the very few that can adapt. And the reason is, if you read history, which I read a lot of it, there was a great book written on the pandemic of 1918. I'll have to find the title. I read that a few years ago. I think it was the Great Influenza. That was the name of the book, The Great Influenza. And it took a dull subject, kind of like what I hope I did for you. It took a dull subject and made it into a riveting narrative. It was a really well-written book, and they got into a pandemic and the infancy of modern medicine 100 years ago. And what's going to happen is we're going to have waves of this. There's not going to be a vaccine. I mean, guys, how do the vaccines work for the flu? They're going to be about the same for this. With the only caveat to that being, if this thing doesn't mutate as much as the flu, and it appears that it doesn't, then maybe they really will be able to come up with a vaccine. But what's my point? You're going to have waves. We're going to be dealing with this for a while. They're going to have to loosen up at some point. I think they really need to start loosening up. I understand what they did and why they did it. And I understand that they went on the data they had at the time. And I don't buy any of this conspiracy theory crap that it was designed to take Trump down or the media or whatever. I don't like the media, but they don't have the kind of power to enter into a conspiracy. We used the information we had. We made the best decision possible to try and avoid a massive downside, and it's been very painful. I think that as both we flatten the curve, we start to develop some herd immunity, and people start to take precautions. We're seeing it in Germany. Of course, they have their stuff together. That you're going to start to be able to reopen. But a lot of these types of businesses, like restaurants, where people would be cheek by jowl and socializing, I think they're going to be dead. They're dead unless they adapt, and very few will be able to adapt for takeout and all. So that's my rough, and I could go on and on because, well, I'm a lawyer and going on and on and on is what I do, but I'm not billing, so I'll stop.
All right, thank you for that. So you don't think it was created in a lab in Wuhan, huh? Okay.
Well, no, let's not go too far. I think there's a greater than 0% chance that was the case. I'm not,
So,
but you'll never know. I mean, how the heck do you prove that? But if you look at the nature of the Chinese regime, they do that sort of thing. So do we. We're a lot more careful and have some value on the lives of our citizens, and we have more accountability. I mean, if you look at how they covered the virus up, they caused massive damage. So they would never admit to it, and we probably could never prove it unless you get some major defector who doesn't mind seeing his whole family killed by that regime. So is it a possibility? Yes. It's not the most probable possibility. The most probable possibility is what normally happens in China for a variety of reasons, density and so forth. You get a lot of viruses that start there, right? It's just the nature of the beast. That's the most probable explanation.
yeah, okay. Government-backed investor loans cannot evict a tenant until after July 26th.
Yeah, but government-backed investor loans also have not just forbearance, they're actually paying your loan, right? Those same loans, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, the government's paying during that time the loan amounts. So you are getting something out of it. Now, maybe that's optimal, maybe it's not, right? Maybe the tenant trashes the place and all that. I mean, but yeah, there is a trade-off.
Yeah, there's been we've had several lenders on, and 3 of them said, don't do the forbearance, it'll affect your credit. And another one said, no, it won't. So it's been confusing.
My present opinion, and it's all over the board, I don't think it'll affect credit, but you have to make sure it's a true, first of all, if it's a government-backed loan, it already happened, it was automatic. If you have Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, and there's actually a search function, I'd have to find the link, where you can search and see if you have one of those, they're covering it. And you have no choice in the matter, they're just doing it. Now, on a more normal loan, if you do forbearance, is there a credit impact? I'm not so sure. So I was talking about government-backed. And it depends what they mean by forbearance. For example, this stuff of, we don't have to pay for 3 months, but then it's all due in month 4. That's just laughable. And again, I am not by any stretch anti-business or pro-regulation, but it's that kind of stuff that makes me want to be slowly and surely some sort of communist who over-regulates everything into the ground. That's just stupid.
Okay, can you take, so the bottom line is you would need to call your lender to find out if you have to pay it all in 3 months, because then why would you do it? Okay, can you take $100,000 IRA withdrawal and $100,000 401k loan?
Yes.
Can 2019 Roth conversion be converted back now?
Not that I'm aware. No, they got rid of the reconversions. So the conversions are like a certain venereal disease. Once you've got it, you've got it.
Okay, that was very graphic. Thank you. All right. Assuming I qualify for and take an early IRA 401k withdrawal, can I still return the money to a qualified retirement account within 3 years if I already did a normal once per year 60-day rollover in February of 2020?
Yeah, the 60-day rule is separate from this. So if you pulled money out and did a 60-day thing, that's fine. You can still do the 100K withdrawal.
Okay. I love your direct approach. Thank you, Kathy. Ah, yes, everybody loves John. Well, not everybody. I love John.
Yeah, let me know, Kathy, how the ratio is on this one. How many people were triggered and fell off the desk and broke their head on the floor and are suing for damages versus the people who actually enjoyed this?
We'll do a survey. We can have them make comments right here.
Oh, that'll be fun.
I applied for a 10K advance money. I manage my properties through an LLC. I have not received any confirmation. Will the government release 10K later to my account? I think that whole thing changed, right? Where it was like $1,000 per employee.
That's their rule of thumb. I don't know how firm that is on businesses that have no employee at all, but that's their rule of thumb is 1K per employee. That implies 0 if you have no employees, but we still don't have the data. I'll survey my clients again. I have an awful lot of clients, real estate people, and so we get some sense of what's going on out there. I will say, I think rightly so, by the way. I think rightly so. The SBA has been very stingy on the so-called advance because a lot of people viewed it as free money and applied just to get that, and it really wasn't the purpose. So you know what? I don't say this often. Kudos to the government.
Yeah, I think if you have an LLC that owns real estate and you're trying to get the 10,000, I don't think that's going to fly. You need to have employees. That's how I understand it.
And to get the loan, you have to show a loss. You know, all these people applying for the loan under penalties of perjury that they need it, and they've had no lost rents. Man, I'll tell you what, I'll bet you down the road, Kathy, I'm sure you've heard about the various loan fraud cases that when people, for example, on a government loan say, I came up with all the down payment myself, and it turns out later somebody got money as a gift. People have actually gone to prison over that. So it's improbable, but perjury on a federal document is a serious matter.
Yeah, no, it's very interesting because in the beginning, that's the way it was presented that I could see is it's like, hey, to get your 10K, regardless. And it even said regardless of whether you need, at least that's the way it was presented.
Well, that's the way it was marketed. I don't think the government said that.
Right.
But a lot of people marketed it that way because marketing people are another evil category. We love them. We need them. We respect the good ones that are honest and still aggressive and sell things. God bless them. We need them. And the ones who say stuff that the rest of us have to live with in order to sell something, they're a problem.
Yeah. I am the new owner of a corporation that had a business affected by coronavirus. Can I now apply for the PPP or EIDL on behalf of the company if the EIN did not change?
You can apply. It's going to be an uphill battle. There's modified documentation. And let me tell you what we're seeing, by the way. a lot of you do not have your stuff in order. We actually provided assistance to a number of people. We got so much, we had to stop taking clients for a while of helping people file for that stuff. A lot of people who didn't get it and were mad, when we looked behind the curtain, they didn't have their stuff in order. Guys, the worst thing you could do, worse than not submitting PPP or EIDL, is submitting incomplete documents. Because A, they're just going to put you to the back of the line, and B, they probably won't tell you for quite some time that you're in the back of the line. And given how fast the funding evaporates, that's a big deal. So if you're not good at paperwork or you're not organized, you need to look in the mirror and be honest with yourself and get help with that. Not necessarily us. We're glad to help, but it doesn't have to be us. My point is this: if you don't give them what they want, so first you need to determine exactly what they want. Second, you need to give it to them. And a lot of you are not in a position to do that. A lot of you procrastinate so much or can't find forms, don't do your returns in a timely manner, or if you don't have a return, they'll still take really good books and records, and a lot of you don't have that. So you have to be prepared. You have to be able to play the game, give them the information they want, and they want the information for a reason. It's not without reason that they're asking for this stuff. That's the number one issue I've seen with people submitting things. Now, in terms of, it's communication, right? If you're dealing on PPP and it's an individual bank, having a relationship matters a whole lot. That's why I think the local banks were so much easier to deal with. And if it's SBA, yeah, you're just kind of in limbo, man. They'll talk to you when they talk to you. But yeah, for 2020, if your business just started, you need documentation to sell that you had a business that was making money. Not well, I thought I was going to make a lot of money. It was my intention to make money. No,
Correct.
You need to show for those couple of months you were actually making money.
And then in the application, do you have to show that you were affected? Because I had heard you didn't.
I'm hearing all sorts of things on that. What I've seen on the EIDL application is they actually have a space for lost rents. And so if you're putting in that you lost rent and you didn't, guys, that's perjury.
Right.
It's wrong. And even then, I mean, you're still signing the document. Read the document. It is by law required that the document contains a statement. And you also, by the way, would have seen the statement when you were first clicking on the SBA website or applying with the bank. They have you click that you need the money. Now, I agree, look, that's vague. What does that mean? Here's the big question. Does it mean the entity that's applying needs money, which I would argue, yes, that's what it means. So that if I have a bunch of money elsewhere, the entity may still need the money. Or does it mean you overall? But look, if the entity has money, like my tax practice, we've got a reserve for 6 months to pay everybody. I don't need the money. You really need to look in the mirror. And I think some of you are getting a little nervous. A couple people on the call are like, uh-oh. Guys, that's why the Shake Shack gave the money back. And look, everybody was in a hurry. And everybody is like, hey, I'm paying for this. I might as well get something out of it. And of course, the word need itself is so very gray. It's like, gee, could you come up with something more specific? But they were in a hurry. But later on, here's what I've seen, and it's unlikely to affect any of you. I mean, the percentage of prosecutions are low, but here's what I have seen fairly consistently. Let's say for whatever reason, the government becomes upset with you and decides that you are a bad person, capital B, capital P. I have seen them go after people, lose, and keep digging till they find something. And this is often that thing. They start looking through your mortgage applications for your home loan, seeing if you lied somewhere on the mortgage application. I'm not kidding. So at a minimum, don't ever upset the government. Well, there's another reason I should never have applied for this. I'm so loud and evil about my opinions of the government. I don't think I'm important enough for them to ever look at. But my paranoia makes me think I am important, and the black helicopters are coming for me. And they will use the loan application to take away my license.
Valid point. They're watching every like that you click on Facebook. Okay.
I knew it.
And with you, it's usually a dislike and a big comment. So no. Here's a comment. George Sutherland said the legal right of a taxpayer to decrease the amount of what otherwise would be his taxes or altogether to avoid them by means which the law permits cannot be doubted.
Yeah, that's a quote, I think, from Learned Hand. Okay, I agree, sure. That doesn't mean you can do evasion. It means you can do avoidance, because the key in there
Avoid.
was legally permitted.
Legally permitted. What was the book John referenced covering the great influenza of 1918?
I
The
think that was
first.
the name of the book, The Great Influenza.
Yep.
Oh, wonderful.
I am so sorry I missed most of what seems to have been a great seminar. Yes, this will be recorded and posted on our website. All you have to do is be a member to log in and see it. And if you're here on this, you are, so it'll be posted. Can you take money out from an inherited IRA as well?
I'm thinking, processing that one. Oh, you actually made me think on one. Nicely done. I would say, yeah. I'm just thinking of the way the statute was written. An inherited IRA is an IRA. So I'm thinking, yeah.
Okay. Check with your own counsel and
Oh, yeah,
CPA on
that
that.
was that was that was education, not legal advice. I have
Yes,
zero liability.
which was stated at the beginning. If we start payroll in April of 2020, do we qualify for tax credit? We have an LLC, taxes, and S corp.
Yeah, yeah. Make sure it's reasonable, right? You're gonna have to back it up. There has to be substance. You can't just cut a check in order to get the tax credit. The salary amount has to be reasonable.
Okay. We got an all caps. Don't let this go to your ego, John. All caps. He is the best.
Oh,
All
you
right.
know it's gonna go straight to the ego. And you know that that's saying something, because it's like, holy crap, I mean, how much bigger can it get?
Well, here's another one. Love him. Great information. Great presentation. Will you go over the $5,000 relief for an LLC filing as an S corp? How can I present this to my CPA?
Okay, it's if an S corporation is required to pay a reasonable salary to its owner. There's case law, there's a ton of it. The CPA should be aware of it. Therefore, the S corp pays you a reasonable salary, whatever that number is, assuming that you meet the qualifications of the retained employee tax credit. The whole, we didn't fire them during bad times, and that's where you have to look at that one bullet point that defines what's bad times. You either dropped 50% in gross receipts compared to last year, or what was the other one, that the business is partially disrupted because of the present situation.
Okay, you're not going to like this one. It's John for president or attorney general. I don't know. Would you
Dictator.
downsize yourself if you were in the government?
Dictator. I need to be dictator. I don't want to have to deal with all this pesky working with other people. No, 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 no.
Great answer. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. That's it on the questions. And John, thank you for an hour and 15 minutes of your time. I know that's worth a lot. And people do know how to reach you. It's right there. So wonderful. All right. Thank you again. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We'll have more webinars this week. And you should have the information on that. Cleveland, I believe, will have a new team in Baltimore, and lots of good stuff. So stay tuned at noon Pacific time all week. All right. Take care, everyone. Have a
Take
great
care,
rest of your
John.
day. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.